guys, Jim here. All of us here at Our Jackson Home hope you're enjoying the new year. The launching of our website on Christmas Day 2014, well, the results were simply stellar. Over 3,500 views in the first week alone, and we're still going strong. We are all deeply thankful and honored for your support, and 2015 promises to be even bigger. Our Jackson Home will be releasing our iTunes channel so you can download the podcast to take with you. We'll have more fabulous podcast guests, more blogs, more videos, more photos, and more news about just how awesome Jackson truly is. If you'd like to be kept informed of what's new with Our Jackson Home, visit our website at www.ourjacksonhome.com and sign up to be on our email list. And remember to like and share our Facebook page with your friends. All of us here at Our Jackson Home wish you the very best 2015. From our front porch to yours.
Luke Pruett here with Our Jackson Home. It's 2015, and I'm here with one of our staff writers, Josh Garcia. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Luke.
Hey, great to see you. Man, I am so pumped about the article you wrote entering this year. It's called How to Conquer 2015 Like a Boss. Talk to me about the genesis of this excellent column.
Of course. I think this year I am taking my New Year's resolutions pretty seriously, probably for the first time. In the past, I think that I didn't take them very seriously. I kind of joked about them, and I think from the beginning didn't believe that I would be able to follow through. But I achieved some of my goals in 2014, and so I'm feeling pretty good about 2015 and wanted to hopefully spread that feeling around.
We'll talk about one of the goals you've achieved. You conquered something pretty big this year, like a boss.
The biggest goal that I achieved, I actually quit smoking this year. It's something that had been on my resolutions list for a couple of years, and I did it. On June 2nd, I had my last cigarette, and I haven't touched one since. So
there's our first health advice point for the kids.
No tobacco, kids. It's bad for you.
So first word, best word. You talk about one of your friends who cared about cuticle care, and you say the silly things are sometimes the most profound things.
Absolutely. I think we have the tendency to think too profoundly about our resolutions, thinking big picture, just like your general existence needs to improve. But there's little goals that are on all of our minds that are just right there, and I think that those are the ones that are worth being on our lists. And if it's cuticle care, take better care of your nails.
It's so true. Your last three points of advice, I think, really speak to not only how great this column is, but also kind of some goals for Our Jackson Home as a whole. You say be really freaking honest with yourself, measure up, aka kind of put things out there that you want to achieve and watch yourself achieve them, and then it takes a village. Kind of speak to community and being honest and how these things work together.
Absolutely. Well, community, I think, is very important. In the article, I think hopefully it came across that, you've got community that is ready to build you up and to be there for you, encourage you, and help you grow. And I think that we need to be willing to accept that support from the people around us. And oftentimes, I think we are a little hesitant to ask for help or support, but those people are there for us, and I think it's important to rely on them. And then as far as honesty goes, you've got to be honest with yourself that you can't do everything on your own, and then you've got to be honest enough to open up to others about where you need that support. And I think the two are definitely intertwined and very important to our growth in general. So
Well, Josh has an amazing ability to be profound, but no writer could really write without sources, and one is unknown, and it says that Beyonce, we all have the same number of hours as she does in each day, and
We
so
do.
that is very true and a very great public service announcement to remember going into 2015. One of my New Year's resolutions is to kick Josh to a much larger publication by the end of this year, so I'm slightly kidding, but man, he is an amazing writer, so enjoy his pieces. He's a professional photographer and a great writer, and so you can find his pieces this year on www.rjacksonhome.com. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Jim.
Welcome to our Jackson Home, Front Porch Discussions without the front porch. I'm here, joined on the board, as always, by my co-host, Luke Pruett. Hey, Luke, how's it going?
It's going great, Jim.
You know, it's our first podcast of the new year, 2015 or 2015, whichever camp you happen to be in.
2015.
So how is 2015 shaping up for you, Luke?
Man, it's looking great. This is the year, Jim. The year.
The year. How long do you think it'll take before all your New Year's resolutions just fall apart all around you?
Man, I just had a fantastic conversation with Josh Garcia about this. I think if I follow his advice, they'll sustain. If I don't, we'll see. They'll fall apart within the next 24 hours for sure.
Okay. Well,
Or maybe they did last night with that fudge. I can't remember.
However it goes, good luck to you, Luke. And we got a great first guest for 2015, Mr. Matt Altobell from the Jackson Downtown Development Corporation. How you doing, Matt?
Doing great, Jim.
Fabulous. Well, tell us a little bit, what is the Jackson Downtown Development Corporation in a nutshell?
Well, we're a nonprofit, and we just focus all of our energy and resources on doing exactly that, developing downtown. I mean, to make it a destination for residential, business, anything, certainly dining, entertainment, quality of life things, anything on earth that you want to do in Jackson, we want you to be able to do it downtown.
Now, you're a Jackson native, right? You attended Lambeth University back when it was still Lambeth before it became Memphis-owned?
I did attend Lambeth. I'm not a native. I'm from Columbia, Tennessee. I came to Jackson just to go to Lambeth and been hanging my hat here ever since.
Right. You studied communications and philosophy, and it was during that time that when you came from Columbia, you made Jackson your home. What made you decide that Jackson was a place you wanted to set down roots in?
I was very fortunate through some connections I made at the school I met a number of people at large in the community, and it immediately felt like home once I got out of school. I found a great job, and but the people, the people have always, from the day I got here, it's been a very unique home feel here.
Yeah, you wave at people, they wave back, and people always are friendly to you even though they don't know you. That should be on a bumper sticker.
Precisely,
I think. They don't know you, but they like you anyway.
At least a very long hashtag, maybe.
Oh, yes. For those Twitterers amongst us out there.
I love that idea. Well, how did you kind of get connected to JDDC, and where do you see kind of your prior experience and who you are informing kind of where you want it to go?
Sure. Well, I went through a program called Leadership Jackson a couple of years ago through the chamber, and met a tremendous number of people there. My sort of community network kind of mushroomed a little bit with that. I had known my predecessor prior to going through that. Just on a personal level, we were good friends.
Big shout out to Katie Pace.
No doubt. Yeah, terrific. The one, the only. But that said, I would say that my eyes were first opened to downtown and all the great things going through that program, particularly the day that she came and talked and took us around. And I had been kind of in my bubble out north and had the same kind of faulty ideas that I think a lot of folks had and perhaps still have. The other part of your question there, a tremendous amount of what I'm able to apply now I actually can trace back to the fraternity I was in school. We did an awful lot of event planning. We raised all our own money, of course.
Which is what fraternity?
Sigma Phi Epsilon.
Okay, there you go.
Tradition of heritage.
That is beautiful.
But
Lameth lives on.
No doubt, no doubt. They're still there, in fact, the only Greek organization on campus. So.
Wow, how cool.
Yeah, actually, during that turbulent period, we had one guy who toughed it out, and so he will be a legend in the, when archaeologists are digging through the ruins one day.
That is amazing.
But it's certainly on a different scale, but my first real exposure to community service and that kind of servant's heart you need to really sink your teeth into something like this was there. So I trace an awful lot of it back to that. Professionally, I was fortunate to have a great job for a number of years where you work directly with people and, just discovering that I get that charge out of talking to people and that ideas sort of come out of that. I mean, that's, just a huge blessing.
Well, you were talking to us a little bit before we got started about the uniqueness of Jackson's downtowns. Speak a little bit to kind of some special things that make it important in our state.
Sure. Well, first of all, a neat little fact is Jackson does have the largest downtown district in the state, 26 square blocks, bigger than any other of these huge cities. So that's, a neat little thing.
So bigger than Nashville,
absolutely,
bigger than Memphis.
That's right.
Incredible.
And, another thing that has struck me and is pretty cool is if you walk around a lot of these other downtowns, I mean, you really appreciate how beautiful and intact ours actually is. I mean, it's not crumbling really at all. I mean, there are certainly beautification projects that need to take place, but like as far as the quality of our buildings and things like that, I mean, we really have a pretty top notch when you look at the way an awful lot of cities look right now.
Speaking of Jackson's downtown area, if you go down there, one of the most notable things you'll see is a new fitness center, the Lift Fitness Center. You got a shopping area called Jackson Walk, and you got this really beautiful apartment complex right by it. Now, a lot of those things there's got to be a lot of challenges in getting those things off the drawing board and put together. What are some of the challenges in developing a city? That sounds like a huge job.
Sure. Well, I mean, I would say, the major component of that that enables real change to take place is a shift in public perception. I mean, it's one of those things you can pour money into it, you can throw money at something, and until people really buy in, it's kind of all for naught. And I think that is happening. I mean, that over the last few years particularly, and going into this year, there's an energy. I mean, the dialogue is totally shifted, and it's from the inside out. I mean, downtown you hear a totally different conversation than you might in other parts of town, but I do think it's sort of beginning to permeate outwardly. And but that, I mean, that is definitely the big challenge, and I do think the folks that are working and living in downtown Jackson are rising to that challenge right now, so that's gigantic.
Right, so it's not just about the power of the purse, it's the passion of the people, basically.
Without question, nice.
Amen.
Jim can turn a phrase.
Yeah, absolutely. And some alliteration is always appreciated.
It's a beautiful thing. Well, what do you see as kind of some of your goals, short-term and long-term, for JDDC and downtown Jackson?
Well, as I kind of said, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of momentum that I inherited with the office from my predecessor, and so goal A would be to continue that. I mean, there are a number of programs in place that are working very well. To continue the whole idea of making downtown a destination for whatever is a number one. Now, bullet point under that would be identifying particular needs. I mean, for an awful long time, JDDC was kind of the sole event haver because, there wasn't a lot to do. So the office was sort of charged with getting folks downtown because they just flat out were not down there. Well, that's not really the case anymore. Now you have, more residents than in decades, and they're out and about doing things and really grabbing hold and taking an organic charge of what they're doing. Businesses are relocating. So the office is in something of a transitional phase, as is downtown, moving toward being a support mechanism and a logistics helping hand type organization, promoter of people that are having their own events. So that's a really exciting thing. That change of identity has a number of challenges with it as well, but tremendously exciting. And I guess that was probably the goal all along, I would think, as you get to a place where someone else is doing this, the office must change with it.
Now, JDDC is a nonprofit organization that you mentioned. It promotes, markets, and develops downtown Jackson specifically. But you're not doing it alone. What are some of the organizations that you work with to help make the visions realities?
Yeah, an incredibly broad spectrum. Work with the city. I mean, directly with the mayor, Chamber of Commerce, and all their terrific things. I mean, they do a great job of making their resources available, and certainly, you know, they do, as everyone knows, a smashing job of their economic development initiatives. Definitely several developers downtown who have, back when no one really was investing, there are a handful of people who really did, and who have a lot of pride in downtown. So glad to work directly with those guys. I mean, a lot of energy and a lot of passion, and I think a lot of things are beginning to pay off, in that way too. As I said, the one I'm personally the most excited about, just because it's fresh and new and it's a great opportunity, are the residents. There's not a lot of mechanism in place for a collection of residential voices to speak out, just flat out because there hasn't really been that collection of voices for very long. So to put some things in place in order to, whether it's a council of residents, I don't know, we're talking about a number of things, but just I think solutions come from dialogue. It doesn't matter what kind of idea guy you are. The more conversations you have, the more solutions come out of that. And so one thing that I really see as my role is to make a 3D picture out of all those conversations and really sort of formulate them into a program that is successful.
Well, Matt's really symbolic of a lot of things we're hoping to do with our Jackson Home. You're a Lambeth grad, a guy who moved from out of the city here and have stuck around and believed in the place and invested in it, and have now kind of caught a vision for folks who were taking big risk over the course of the last 10 years, and people who have invested a lot of time and energy and spirit. So we're so excited about everything Matt's doing and his vision for downtown. We're going to come back. We hear you're a big movie buff. Is that right?
I am, yeah, sure.
I think
some people have friends. I watched a lot of movies when I was a kid.
I think Jim has a game for us when we come back. Is that right, Jim?
Oh yes, I have the game for you. You'll be matching wits with Matt here, Luke.
All right, we'll be back with
Good
the
luck,
last.
sucker.
Better bring your A game.
The trash talk is on already. We'll be back with the last segment of our first podcast of 2015. You're listening to Our Jackson Home.
Welcome back to Our Jackson Home Front Porch Conversations Without the Front Porch. We're here with our guest Matt Altobell and my co-host Luke Pruett. Now we've got a great game coming up for you guys, and if you want to, you can play along on your at your houses, in your cars, in the MP3s, but make sure you don't wreck your cars. I will not be held responsible for any of that. Before we get to the movie game, we also want to make note that Matt here is a great musician. He's a percussion instructor for the Gibson High School Marching Pioneers, has been for the last 5 years. Now, would you call yourself more of a Ringo Starr or more of a Phil Collins?
Mad respect to those two. If I were choosing what I would love for my identity to be, I think I'm more of a Stuart Copeland from the Police.
Right. Does he have all his hair? Because Ringo Starr and Phil Collins are both kind of have a retreating hairline. Does he have his hair?
I think he's getting younger constantly. He's still the fiery upstart, firebrand sort of young anarchist guy.
Which would be a cool name for a band, Fiery Upstart. Also on your Facebook page, speaking of music as well, most people have their little in-shot page, but you also have a photo of Bill and Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which I think is very, very cool.
Sure.
Which shows you have great taste and possible hidden skills as an air guitarist. Do you have skills as an air guitarist? Is that how you unwind, or are there other interests or hobbies?
No, that's admittedly that's pretty low on the list, but it's definitely on the list of things that I do on the weekend particularly. But Bill and Ted, if I can just say, I think that movie was pretty prophetic, and we'll have to wait until the 26th century probably to really know if they were the great ones, but I suspect that their influence will be
See if we
long-lasting.
have the three most important people in the world sitting in this retro disco deco shiny room.
Certainly, and be excellent to each other is if there ever were a mantra.
Yes, and we will always party on, dudes, as we are now with, was that line said in that movie, The Game? That was a pretty weak intro, but The Game is really strong because it involves these two going head to head, telling me if a line from a film was misquoted or if it's the right quote.
Is this right quote, wrong quote?
Right quote, wrong quote, yeah. I haven't had my coffee this morning. But how this game is going to work, I'm going to give Luke and Matt a name of a movie. I'm going to say a famous line from that movie, a line that's often misquoted, and I'm going to say, is it the right quote A or is the right quote B? That's about as clear as mud, right? You guys ready to play?
I'm glad we have
bring it.
choices because Matt would own me if we didn't have choices.
All right.
No, don't sell yourself short. You're not going to win though.
Yes, he's going to ground you into the dust like a rented.
I'm going against the movie
Yeah.
connoisseur. I need Taylor Worley by my side right now.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Question number 1, Apollo 13, a film starring Tom Hanks in 1995, is the quote A, Houston, we have a problem, or is the quote B, Houston, we've had a problem? A or B?
Wow, that's like nuanced.
Is it?
Houston, we have a problem. A.
Okay, Luke says A. What do you say, Matt?
I'm going to also go with A.
A? You are both wrong. It's Houston, we've had a problem.
Wow.
Question number 2.
Seems obvious in hindsight, doesn't it?
That's going to be the flavor for this game. So
Okay.
close yet so far. Number 2, Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood, 1971, is the quote, do you feel lucky, punk? A, or is the correct quote, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do ya, punk? B. Which is it, A or B?
B.
Is definitely B.
B and B from both, and you are both correct.
I could tell by your vigor on the second one. You got more in your Eastwood on that.
Okay, then I'll have to watch that to make it more of a fun game. Number 3, The Graduate, Dustin Hoffman, 1967. Mrs. Robinson, are you trying to seduce me? Or is it the second one? Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me, aren't you? Is it the first one or the second one?
B.
A.
Okay. Matt says the second one. Okay, and what do you say, Luke?
I say A, number 1.
Number 1, okay. It is Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me, aren't you? It's A. second one.
I take the lead.
Wait, no. I thought the second one was B.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Wait, I don't take the lead.
No,
Back to 2.
okay.
No.
Yeah, I got a bit befuddled there.
It's
All right.
okay. I didn't want the listeners to call in, and
Right.
and rise up. Kind of got to keep the integrity
yes.
of me being in first place at all costs.
That's true.
Okay, number 4. This is going kind of out of the box here. She Done Him Wrong, starring Mae West, 1933, is the correct quote A, why don't you come up and see me sometime? Or is the correct quote B, why don't you come up sometime and see me?
Oh, man. Gosh, I feel like I'm in English class. A.
Luke says A.
I'll go with A.
He goes A. The correct answer is B. Why don't you come up sometime and see me?
So what are we at, 2-1?
Okay, let's see. You both got question 1 wrong. You both got question 2 right. Matt's ahead by 1.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 5. The film is Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart, 1942. Is the correct quote A, you played it for her, you can play it for me. If she can't stand it, I can. Play it. Or is the correct quote B, play it again, Sam?
B.
A.
The correct quote is A.
Dang it.
Matt is ahead by 2.
He is leading the way here.
But I think the tide's going to turn. I think,
You feel it coming?
Yeah, I think you got it, man. I'm really, I don't know, feeling a sense of
what's
dread.
what's your favorite genre of film, Matt?
Just good, man. Just good movies. I'm into
Based on
tearing
the
down
objective
walls, not
scale.
building them up. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Wait, top 3. If you had to do a this is your last movie night.
Sure.
These are your top 3.
Very fond of Doctor Strangelove. I'm in that minority that believes the Godfather Part 2 is the superior of the first 2.
Fascinating.
For right now, I'd say La Dolce Vita by Fellini is probably number 3. Those are probably my top 3 for the moment.
So if we were dreaming, what would be your dream film scenario in downtown Jackson? An indie film theater? Would that be the penultimate?
That would be terrific. Yeah, I mean, I would, you got to have repertory stuff. I mean, you got to be able to show the classics. It would be nice to have some independent things that don't, get shown at the Cineplex. That would be great, and certainly there's a market. But I think some of those timeless movies, man, you just, I think the market is here, and if I can show my hand a little, I would love to move toward that, and may or may not be doing some things to move toward that.
And I just want to object. Earlier, Matt said some people have friends. He has movies. But Matt blew up the internet last night with one of our posts. So next to Beyonce, that's the second time we've worked Beyonce into this podcast. I think there's Matt.
Well, in many ways, she's the glue holding my life together, so it really is kind of perfect.
What do we got? 2 more questions?
Speaking of classic movies, since you're on that subject, Wizard of Oz, Judy Garland, 1930. Is the correct quote A, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore? I said it kind of like John Travolta there. Or is the actual quote B, Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore?
Oh, it's B.
You think it's B?
Yes, I know
Matt?
it's B.
It is B.
It is B. You are both correct.
All right.
Okay, 2 more, and we'll wrap up the quiz.
All right. Let's finish it.
Okay. Planet of the Apes, Charlton Heston, 1968. Is the correct quote A, get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape? Or is the correct quote, take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape? So is it get or take, basically?
I think it's take. Oh, I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, I think it's take.
So you both go for B?
Yep.
I'm going to go get just so maybe I can get a point here. I'm going to differ at the last second.
You're going to differ at the
answer.
last second.
I'm
So
gonna go
you're
with
going for
get.
get, right?
Yes, I need to improve a point here.
Yeah.
Okay. You're tied.
Whoa.
You're tied. That was a right decision, okay? So last one will be the tiebreaker.
That's
movie
how
is
you play the game.
And Justice for All, starring Al Pacino in 1979, is the correct quote, I'm out of order. You're out of order. This whole courtroom's out of order. Or is the actual movie quote, you're out of order. You're out of order. The whole trial is out of order. They're out of order. Is it A or B is the correct quote?
Man, Pacino's got nothing on you.
Truer words have seldom been spoken. That was riveting.
Wow. You get to choose who goes first.
I will go with B arbitrarily, since I barely remember the difference.
Okay. Matt says B. What do you say, Luke?
I do agree too. This game has become more about Jim's performance really
It
than
really
about
has.
any
Oscar
form.
worthy.
Yes, I'm not sure if it's been a good test of Matt's knowledge of movies at all, but Jim's performance has been top notch. A.
And you say A. Okay. It was tied. And strangely, even though we gave him a lot of flack, Luke came away with the win 4-3.
Well, Jim, let's be honest. That game had nothing to do with movie knowledge at all, which means it evened the playing field for me, and I came away victorious. I greatly appreciate
No, it's
that.
great, man. Luke was a great opponent. He overcame adversity.
But Matt still wins because movies are his people. So he's going home with his movies tonight.
That's true. So what film are you excited about in the year ahead? Do you keep up with current films, or are you just a conveyor of that which is old?
My fatal flaw is that I don't keep up with a lot of new movies, I should say, and it has nothing to do with like a particular fondness for old or whatever. It just, I think per capita, more of the movies being made were better. I think a mediocre film from the 1950s is probably better than a slightly above average film today.
It's amazing. Discussing movies with you proves why you're perfect for a downtown development, is you appreciate the creativity of that which is old. And that ultimately is what downtowns are representative of, particularly ours with kind of some of the great architectural work that's been done down there. Agricultural work's great too, but more so architectural.
The aqueducts downtown are tremendous. It's great.
It's built built to sustain, to kind of maintain and encourage future creativity for future generations.
And,
Kind of like great old movies.
Jackson has been featured in a good number of movies. Back in 1994, I had a small part in a movie called American Southern, and Jackson's got a lot of really great locations for films. Has there been any film companies expressing coming to Jackson? I know they like to go to Memphis a lot, and they like to go to Nashville a lot. But you haven't really seen, there's been some, but not a great amount of, say, film studios coming to shoot at Jackson. We've got the Greyhound bus stop that's very Art Deco, looks very good. We've got some very great old-looking buildings downtown. I mean, more film should really come to Jackson, in my opinion.
That's a good word. I'm going to close with a pitch here. If you're looking to do creative work, Jackson, Tennessee is a phenomenal town to come and do it in. It's affordable. It is a really neat place, and there's some great history here. And we're so excited for Matt to kind of be at the forefront of leading the charge in downtown Jackson. So if you're someone who's been investing in downtown Jackson, we want to say thank you for preserving it and continuing the legacy there.
When I posted that Matt was going to be on the show, it literally blew up Facebook. We had a whole lot of people liking it and sharing it. And there's something that you mentioned earlier in the show, before you started recording, about Twitter and how you used to be into Twitter, but now you're thinking about getting back into it.
Yeah, I sort of, when that flowering, that explosion of all the different platforms came out, I mean, I signed up for Twitter, and I had a lot of fun doing it, but it's one of those things, if you let it get away, suddenly you're just, it is no more. It's very real and now, and so I have let that fall to the wayside. I do think the nature of the way things are now, and certainly the way things are going downtown, it would benefit from that, so yes.
Right, and you also mentioned that since you were talking about revamping your Twitter account, you mentioned that you'd possibly come up with a brand new Twitter account right here on the air.
We've got the announcement of a handle on our Jackson home. So
you guys are witness to history here. Matt Altobell of the Jackson Downtown Development is going to be starting a new Twitter account that you all can follow, and please do follow his Twitter account to be informed of all that's going on down there.
And it is going to be, drum roll please.
It is going to be JDDC Matt.
Whoa,
JDDC Matt. So get on your phones or iPads or whatever's you happen to use.
Your tweeter devices.
Your tweeter devices, and get on there and follow him.
From whatever you tweet upon, or from whatever preposition would fit.
Follow at JDDC Matt. And for the rest of us all, let's figure out ways to incorporate downtown life into our lives on a daily basis. There's great things happening down there. So get down there, meet Matt, and participate in what's happening in our city. You've been listening to Our Jackson Home. Matt, thanks for being with us.
Pleasure, fellas. Thank you.